This is really one of the most remarkable confrontations of a Republican delusion that I've seen in a long time, and it took place on Fox News, no doubt. Fox News host Neil Cavuto asked former Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler, remember her, really the perfect question about her claims that there were problems and irregularities in the 2020 election in Georgia, in which she was a candidate and lost to Raphael Warnock. And the question is really simple. If there were problems with the Trump versus Biden results and they can't be trusted because the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, was a partisan and biased arbiter of that election, he supported you, Kelly Loeffler, in that race. What does that mean? Isn't that an obvious conflict? Now, remember that I brought this up, a similar version of this, back in November, just after the election, when I tweeted, quote, "Why have Trump and Republicans accepted the results from House and Senate elections, but not presidential? Everything was on the same ballots." In other words, tons of Republicans who won in the House and Senate on the same ballots as where Trump lost were saying, we cannot trust these results. It's rigged. There's all sorts of irregularities. But so hold on. We also can't trust that you won, right? And of course, that's not what they were talking about. An obvious problem with their argument. So let's now get to the video of Neil Cavuto, who reduces Kelly Loeffler to mumbling and stumbling by pointing out, the guy you're saying needs to be investigated for his role in the election, he supported you in that race. And of course, part of the implication here is maybe he did something screwy to help you as well, right? Take a look at this, just a remarkable 60 seconds of footage.
Making sure that everyone's voice is heard.
All right, so if we were having an investigation into that, it would be investigations after other investigations. This one more focused, I guess, on the behavior of Mr. Raffensperger. But you had charged that you want to probe into whether he used his office to advance his political interest. He was supporting you and your colleague. So how was that opposite what your interests were? You were both on the same page.
That's not exactly correct. I mean, look, he's our top elections official. He's not a partisan official per se. But my focus is not sweeping this.
But he wasn't for your opponent, right, Senator? He was for you. He was for Senator Perdue.
Well,
so
look,
what would be in his interest to sabotage that?
Not suggesting sabotage. I'm suggesting that Georgians don't trust voting right now, and he took actions that led to a lack of confidence.
Wow. Well, if Brad Raffensperger took actions that led to a lack of confidence and he supported Kelly Loeffler, we should be looking into whether Kelly Loeffler really only lost by a little bit to Raphael Warnock. Maybe Kelly Loeffler lost by a lot, but Brad Raffensperger, in the same way that he maybe pulled funny business against Trump because he didn't like Trump, so this is their story, maybe he pulled some funny business in favor of David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, who he supported. Now, of course, what's the truth here? The truth is, I think Kelly Loeffler knows the Georgia election was pretty fair. Trump simply lost. She has sort of played coy with all of this stuff because remember that there was that period between November and January where Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue were campaigning for those special elections. She was fighting for her political life between November and January 5th, which was the day of that special election. And during that time, she needed Donald Trump's support. At least she believed she needed it. I don't know. Maybe it hurt more than it helped. So she was playing coy with the election fraud stuff. When she was asked directly whether she agreed with Donald Trump that the election in Georgia was rigged, I think during the debate with Raphael Warnock, it came up. She would say stuff like, well, we need to investigate. The president has every right to demand this and that. To his satisfaction that this was done correctly and that was done correctly. We need to ensure every vote, every legal vote is counted and every voice is heard. She was playing coy with it to avoid having to say, no, I think Trump's telling you BS. But then that risks losing the Trump support she thought she needed in that special election in January. I believe she doesn't care about Trump. I think she cares about herself. I think Kelly Loeffler probably recognizes that Trump's a disaster, but if Trump is useful to her, if it helps her win, then she'll say whatever and accept Donald Trump's support. She might want to run again. And she's probably looking at the same polls we're looking at, which show that, at least for right now, Donald Trump is a player in Republican politics. She might need Trump's help if she wants to run again. And she's going to keep playing coy and continuing to be unable to just answer simple questions, or refusing to questions like this one, which is, the guy you're saying we need to investigate supported you in 2020. So where does that leave us with any of this nonsense? I was hoping that the last we'd see of Kelly Loeffler was when she lost to Raphael Warnock in January. Appears not to be the case. And she is truly detestable and so horrible for the country, and seems as determined as ever to get involved again and to do more damage. You almost get the sense that Kelly Loeffler is like surprised she's being asked this question on Fox, which, I mean, listen, it's sort of surprising, but occasionally Neil Cavuto will ask what we would call a real question that in other countries, just every interview would have real questions like this. And she's asked a so-called real question, and she's unable to string together anything approximating a coherent response because her position on this is and has been incoherent. Like Trump, she may run again, and we will need to fight her if that's indeed what happens. I spend a lot of time every day looking at a computer screen, and peer-reviewed studies have shown that blue light from screens can lead to eye strain, blurred vision, headaches, dry, watery eyes. That will not be a problem for you once you get Blue Block's glasses, which filter out blue light to help your eyes. They are one of our sponsors today. Blue Block's glasses are developed and built in actual optics labs. They've been extensively tested for effectiveness. There are over 40 different styles to choose from. These are my Blue Block's glasses. I like the look. I've noticed a huge difference where I'm not getting that eye strain or the headaches from the computer screen because of the Blue Block's glasses. They really have something for everyone: a prescription version, non-prescription, reading glasses, and Blue Blocks is giving you 20% off when you go to blueblocks.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman. The link is right underneath this video, and you will get free shipping on orders over $115.